Hey friends, welcome back to our lesson number 6. I'm Steve, and this week we're exploring a theme that's woven through the entire Bible like a red thread. The theme of sacrifice. Now, I know talking about sacrifices might sound like something out of an ancient movie, full of fire, blood, and animals. Not exactly your typical Sabbath afternoon chat or your Christian spiritual chats. But trust me, this isn't just a history lesson. It's a heart message. This is about why Jesus is called the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. It's about why a slain lamb is at the center of heaven's throne in Revelation. It's about how that lamb changes your life and mine, not just for a while, but for eternity, forever. So let's jump in. So here's the big idea. God didn't ask for sacrifices because he loves ceremonies. He asked for them because they taught people something powerful. That sin is serious and salvation is costly. In Isaiah chapter 1, God basically says to Israel, I'm sick of your sacrifices. Wait, what do you mean? Didn't God command sacrifices? He did. But the problem was their hearts. They were checking religious boxes, burnt offering here, a lamp there, but living however they wanted to for the rest of time. Their religion was all performance. There was no surrender or no death to self. It's like saying, I love you to your spouse or to someone you love every day while ignoring their needs and never helping with the dishes, for example. Eventually, those I love yous don't mean much, do they? Let us compare Cain and Abel. Cain brought something he grew. Abel brought a lamb, the sacrifice that God has asked for. Cain said, here's what I want to bring. Abel said, here's what you asked, Lord. So sacrifice as its core, it isn't about blood. It is about obedience. It's about acknowledging that we are sinners and God is holy and trusting God to make us whole. So let's talk about bulls, goats, and boarding passes. Let's talk about Hebrews chapter 10. It tells us that all those sacrifices, bulls, goats, lambs, they couldn't actually take away sin. So why bother with that? Think of those sacrifices like boarding passes. It's not the flight, but it's the proof that the journey is paid for. You cannot live at the airport with your ticket forever, can you? Eventually, you have to board the plane. Some critics would say, your religion is violent, it's bloody, and sacrifice. What kind of God demands that? But here's the truth. God did not demand death. It was sin that caused death. Sacrifice wasn't about cruelty. It was about God providing a way through death to life. So what this teaches us is that Jesus is the only one true sacrifice. The Lamb of God did not just cover sin, he carried it away. He took it away. And when Jesus died, the temple veil tore top to bottom, God saying, no more animal sacrifices. The real lamb has come and the work is done. So let's look at the Passover connection. Let's go back to Egypt. Exodus chapter 12. The Israelites are about to escape slavery. But to be spared from judgment, they need a lamb. Not just any lamb, a perfect one. They keep the lamb for 4 days, letting the whole family see it, care for it, grow attached to it. Then they sacrifice it. Now, moving fast forward to Jesus, he rides into Jerusalem, and for several days he teaches openly in the temple. He's on display, just like that lamb, and then on Passover, he dies. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 7 says, Christ, our Passover lamb, has been crucified for us. Think of it this way. Have you ever tried to get your dog into the car for a vet visit? Animals know when something's up. Now imagine holding a perfect lamb, spotless, innocent, and realizing this lamb is dying in my place. That's how serious sin is. But here's the beauty. Jesus voluntarily chose to die. He became the lamb without blemish, so we could live without condemnation. Now let's talk about Haggai. Haggai chapter 2. The second temple didn't have the ark or the same glory as Solomon's. But Haggai says this temple will be more glorious than the first. But how, you ask? And the reason is this, because Jesus himself walked in that temple. Think about that. God didn't just sit behind a veil anymore. He stepped out of heaven and he walked among men and women. He didn't send a memo. He sent himself in person and in the flesh. So Jesus is Emmanuel, meaning God is with us. Not God is watching us or God is judging us. It is saying God is with us. So when Jesus healed the lepers, when he hugged children, when he ate with sinners, he was bringing God's glory to us. Isn't that beautiful? No wonder John weeps in Revelation chapter 5 when no one can open the scroll, but then the Lamb of God steps forward. Only the Lamb is worthy because the Lamb came down in the flesh. Now let's talk about the throne room, where worship and worthiness meet. Isaiah chapter 6 and Revelation 4 and 5, we get a peek into heaven's throne room. And what do we see? We see worship. But not just singing choruses or waving hands, like some of our worship has evolved into. Worship rooted in who God is. And God is holy, holy, holy. Isaiah says, "Woe is me, I'm unclean." John weeps and he says, "No one is worthy." That's right. That's the right response when you glimpse God's holiness. But then Jesus enters, the Lamb who was slain, and everything changes. Revelation chapter 5 verse 9 says, "They sang a new song, 'You are worthy, for you were slain, and you have redeemed us by your blood.'" Think of this. In a world where atheists, they say we're just dust in a cold universe, this truth stands tall. You are loved, you are known, and you are redeemed. Because heaven's highest throne is occupied by a lamb with scars. And here is my closing thoughts. Why the cross changes everything. So let's land this plane. Why is understanding sacrifice so important? And it's important because the cross tells two truths. First one, sin is worse than we ever imagined. Secondly, God's love is greater than we ever dared to hope. Jesus wasn't just a martyr. He is the Lamb who was slain since the foundation of the world, says Revelation 13 verse 8. That means God did not scramble to fix our mess. He planned to redeem us before we fell. And here's the final challenge. Don't just admire the Lamb. Trust the Lamb. Follow the Lamb. Let his sacrifice shape your life. And remember, when heaven looks for someone worthy, the only answer is still the same. Behold, the Lamb of God. And that's it for today, friends. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this has touched your heart, share it with someone who needs this hope today. And remember, your salvation does not rest on what you do, but on what the Lamb has already done. Until next time, walk in grace, live with joy, fix your eyes on the Lamb who alone is worthy.